Okay, so this particular bill is drafted to deal with those aerospace corporations. Okay, the House bill doesn't. They specifically took out demanding that the aerospace corporations pony up what all their information is, because that's not really catastrophic. All that really is goring your own ox, you know, in the national security state. And so that your myopia in determining what is catastrophic from what is potentially catastrophic in reality is not to be trusted. Okay, so that the dynamic that takes place once this gets to be passed by the House, this is easy to get passed by the Senate because they passed it unanimously out of the Senate Intelligence Committee. They passed the 64-page bill, you know, with
what's wrong with the House?
The House is the fact that they've got guys like Turner, who is the head of the House Intelligence Committee, who's from the 10th Congressional District of Ohio, where the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is. Yeah. You know, you got the guy like Rogers, Mike Rogers, over in the 2nd Congressional District in Alabama, where the Redstone Rocket Range is, where they're doing the back engineering training. You know, they've both persuaded, you know, Mike Johnson, who's kind of hanging on by the skin of his teeth, you know, of being the Speaker of the House, you know, who can be threatened by any given one person to remove him, that they talked him into refusing to allow the bill to come to a vote. Oh if this 64-page bill that was passed virtually unanimously by the United States Senate were put to a floor vote in the House, we'd have 400 votes to pass this.
But they won't put it to a vote
because a tiny handful of people that are wedded to the aerospace industry, right? But this is eventually going to get passed. I mean, it's clear that the political forces that have come together to make this the proposal that the United States Senate is being proposed by the majority leader of the Senate, with Chuck Schumer, and guys like Marco Rubio, you know, and Mike Rounds, you know, from South Dakota, that this is going to become the law, and it's going to take a few passes to get this done, and it's clear that the struggle is going to be over who the panel is going to be, and you know who the president is going to appoint to that panel, and so that we know that we have access to the democratic instrumentalities of our government if we will do our job. You know, you and I know, you know, how lazy average American people are.
Yeah.
You know, people would spend more time watching football games than they would bothering to read this statute.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
It is also boring.
And, you know, no, it's actually quite exciting, actually.
You think that the way they write this is exciting?
No, but what I'm saying is that when you realize that they're actually talking about releasing the top secret information about the UFOs, and they start saying they're talking about flying saucers and they're talking about extraterrestrial life forms, you know, when you see this in a bill like this, you say, now this is pretty interesting stuff, okay? But the fact of the matter is that we're not even requiring them to spend their time reading the bill. We're telling them what's in the bill. You know, here, we'll give it to you in like a 1.5-page synopsis.
Yeah.
Okay? So what we have to do is get people being willing to exercise their constitutional responsibility as citizens if they really want to do this, okay? And we have to be able to demonstrate to the people that want to have the controlled disclosure that the American people want more than they're willing to tell. Okay? That's what we need to do.
We're also dancing around a 500-pound elephant in the room here, which is the fact that we're not just talking about the government itself when it comes to this topic. And this is where we can bring in the UFO crash retrievals, because that's the best example right here. With this bill, you're talking about the government being able to reveal what they know and what they have access to. Mm-hmm. But in speaking with Lou and hearing some other guys who are familiar with this stuff talk, allegedly there's a huge problem where, if you want to just paint the term military-industrial complex on it, I think that's pretty apropos. Mm-hmm. There's a huge problem where the United States government over the past 6-7 decades has given private organizations, meaning like the Lockheeds of the world, the Northrops, whoever, fill in the blank here, access to not only head up some of these programs, but to literally have carte blanche to do what they want, such that the evidence that they may recover from something like a UFO crash retrieval isn't even owned by the government. Even if the government declares eminent domain, we don't even know where some of this stuff is because the organizations themselves have it. How do we rein in something that's now 7 decades in the making, potentially?
Yeah. What you do is that actually in this 64-page bill, they are included. This does have an eminent domain. This does have subpoena power. This does have the right to issue subpoenas, to take depositions, to go after them, to dig this information out from them.
But you got to know what you're looking for, no?
Yeah. I've done this for 50 years. Once you start going down this road, you have a pretty good idea of what you're looking for. And our job is to identify what it is we're looking for, and at least in broad categories, and to make sure that they don't dodge us. We've succeeded in doing this over and over and over again. Okay, so this particular bill is drafted to deal with those aerospace corporations. Okay, the House bill doesn't. They specifically took out demanding that the aerospace corporations pony up what all their information is. Okay, they did that intentionally. So, and it's an obvious thing that they've done.
Of course.
Okay, so what we have to do is turn our focus on the House of Representatives to make sure that we can get those three guys out of position. You get rid of Turner as the head of the Intelligence Committee, get rid of Rogers as the head of the Armed Services Committee, and you get rid of Johnson as the Speaker of the House.
Meaning, vote them out of office altogether?
No. If in fact the Democratic Party takes over the House of Representatives, all those three guys lose their job. They're out. And so that the people who ascend into positions of authority now are not yet in the pocket of the aerospace industry. Okay? And
How do we know that?
Because we know who they are. Okay? And so that if in fact the Democrats take control of the House of Representatives, they will pass this 64-page bill. Okay? They will pass the bill. All right? And as long as whether the Democrats hold control of the Senate or not doesn't make any difference, because the Republicans inside the Senate support the bill too. And so that the Senate, no matter what happens with it, is going to repass this bill. And if the House goes over into the coal of Democrats, the Democrats are going to vote for this. So then we're into the struggle over who's going to be put on that panel. Okay, and so that what I'm saying is the reason that you have lawyers, the reason that our people have lawyers, the population like myself, is that we can help steer the way through this process so that we can get at them. Now, you have the right to make a rejoinder saying, yeah, but doesn't it always turn out getting a little too late? Isn't it clear that the Congress is really under the control of the military-industrial complex and the major capitalists, et cetera? The answer is yes, unless and until we do our job. They realize that the American people have been cowed into not exercising our authority, okay? And we're letting them get away with this. And what we've got to do in the New Paradigm Institute, for example, we've got to be able to explain to people the kind of dangers that this is generating. That this is a dangerous situation that we've got here now. That we've got the doomsday clock of the American atomic scientists, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, has now reset the doomsday clock for the first time. Now it's 90 seconds before midnight. This is the shortest fuse on the doomsday clock that has ever existed since it was created in 1947, because the United States military now has moved nuclear missiles, the B-61 nuclear missiles, the mid-range nuclear missiles, into Germany and into Poland, and now they're moving them into the Eastern Bloc right now. Okay, and Putin has responded by giving a command to his field commanders now to train up the deployment and the use of tactical nuclear weapons in the field in order to protect those two provinces that they've taken back in Crimea. Yeah. Okay. So we know that that's happening now. And just last week, the Biden administration has now issued a what they call nuclear deployment employment executive order, preparing to put short fuses on 1,600 United States missiles in the submarines and in the forward projection for immediate first strike, and to coordinate the first strike against the Soviet Union, China, and North Korea all at one time. Okay? And they've issued that order now to start preparing that. And that's why the doomsday machine now the doomsday clock has been put to 90 seconds short of midnight. Jesus. Okay? So the people need to understand that. And they need to understand that this is correlated with a major upsurge in the UFO surveillance of all of our nuclear facilities. Okay? And that they've demonstrated their capacity to shut them off. They've demonstrated their
For
capacity,
decades, yeah.
and they've demonstrated their capacity to be able to shut down our nuclear aircraft carrier
and in other
battle
countries
groups.
as well.
That's right. And so that type of intervention, if it becomes necessary for them to intervene in order to preserve the life-generating capacity of our planet, so as not to be destroyed by thermonuclear exchange, that's going to reveal their presence. Okay, and that the national security state is not prepared yet for revealing their presence. So what they've done is they've come forward with this process right here. They've come forward with this process to figure out how they can choreograph releasing an adequate amount of information to start preparing our people so they can continue to utilize nuclear weapons as a threat to establish and control, maintain their control. That's what they're doing right now. So we're not being bamboozled by what they're up to here.
But this is also, so the people who are involved with this and getting this forward are the people who were part of, part of ATIP and a part of OSAP.
That's right.
Before that. And those programs, regardless of however they morphed into each other, they talk all in skiffs. It's highly secretive. Guys like Hal Puthoff, Jacques Vallée are involved, some of the brightest minds in the world.
Yep.
But still, you say that specifically like some UFO crash retrieval groups in the Pentagon were far more secretive than that?
Oh, yes.
So how sinister is that stuff then?
Very. Very. And those are the people that we have to figure out whether we can get the people here that are doing this to be on our side, to be able to dig those people out and put them out of business.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.